What did they end up actually getting? 15 boxes? That's it? Now, some of the things that they said, apparently, like they were mementos, letters like from former President Obama, letters from other leaders that were to Trump, little things like that. That all has to be part of the National Archive. And the discussion of, classification, and that's the other thing. Let me pull this up. Let me make sure we hit this, and we're going to get into some of the economic stuff, because ultimately we can't take our eye off that ball, even though I think that that's what this is kind of all about. If this is an argument over classification, you realize that the precedent doesn't look real great there either. I mean, I could bring up Hillary Clinton. By the way, sidebar, I really need to make this joke. I'm not going to be able to continue this program today if I don't. You know how she's doing she came out yesterday, day before yesterday, saying that she's got the "but her emails" hat. Yeah. She tweeted it out. She was like, "Oh, here's hats and shirts, butter emails." And I was like, "Well, do you have any butter emails cigars?" And I'm gonna leave it there. So this story, Jonathan Turley had a great piece on James Comey. If you want to have a discussion about classified materials, right? Because the classified materials, it's just weird that, James Comey, he leaked to the press and he never got in trouble. Remember that? That was actually a felony, what he did. That's when he had his book, A Higher Loyalty. And he was releasing these memos to the press, and he got in trouble because he was removing and leaking these like classified memos to the press. And it came out, the guy that he gave him to leak, the guy to whom he gave these documents and who was leaking them was like, yeah, I did it. So my point is, that was the guy who was the head of the FBI who was doing this. And there was nothing, no wrist slap, no anything. Nothing at all. And so, it's kind of, not just that, you also have the General David Petraeus. Do you remember this? He got in trouble. There was this deal that was given to him. Turley wrote that he wanted to avoid jail time, and he said that, because Petraeus, remember that whole thing when he was having an affair with that woman, Paula Broadwell, and she wrote his biography, and he had an affair with the lady who wrote his biography, and it all came out, and all this stuff, and this was a guy also who got in trouble with compromising, classified materials, et cetera, and nothing ever happened. Cheryl Mills, associated with Hillary Clinton, nothing ever happened there either. She also was handling classified material with that secondary email account. So the precedent here is kind of wild. Now, quick point on the search warrant too. Because the other thing with the president has the authority to declassify certain things during the time which he is president. And it just kind of doesn't seem, we don't know what, even if it was classified materials, honestly, that the warrant was seeking, because we don't know. Now, he, I think, can release the warrant. There's some back and forth about this, because McCarthy had a piece yesterday in the New York Post. He said that the Justice Department obviously used this whole potential classified information thing as a pretext to obtain a warrant so it could search for what they're really looking for. Any kind of evidence that would tie Trump to a capital riot offense or seditious conspiracy or anything like that. So a fishing expedition. But even if we had the warrant application, that doesn't really explain kind of the motivation and the scope. Now, the other thing was CBS said because it was Trump. Everyone was saying Trump needs to release the warrant, but CBS actually said that Trump and the folks at Mar-A-Lago weren't actually given a copy of it. This is what they write. They said that Trump attorney Lindsay Halligan had said the search warrant was sealed. She did not know what kind of documents the FBI might be looking for. Eric Trump told the Daily Mail that the FBI refused to give either Trump or his attorneys access to the warrant. He says agents refused to hand it over. Now, if it's sealed, I guess that might make sense. So it kind of sounds like, for all these people saying, well, if Trump doesn't have anything to fear, he should release the warrant. How convenient is it that they can accuse him of that when the people who perpetrated this know that it's sealed? Because don't you have to get another court order to unseal the damn thing? Yeah. So you can't unseal it unless you got another order. So he can't unseal it. So the other argument is that, that he just doesn't put it out there because he's guilty. Well, if you would actually have him, you're like baiting him to violate a crime, that just presupposes that he even has it. But if it's sealed, he doesn't have it. And if it's sealed, you got to have a court order to unseal it. So none of this works. Do you see this way that they try to set this up? It is so ridiculous.